Hi, I'm at a homeowner's house in Manassas, Virginia. The homeowner was telling me that he has two leaks located, one here and the other one right in the middle of the two windows in the inside of the interior wall. He had two different roofing contractors come by. Uh, they both felt that it was in the most obvious area. So one just caulked it, and the second one replaced the flashing along the edge here. And I told the homeowner, in order for me to guarantee the work, I need to see it for myself if the shingles going underneath the apron flashing is going up high enough underneath and that it was installed correctly, because I want to guarantee this work and I have to see for myself. So I lifted up the apron flashing, I checked the shingles underneath, and everything was well. But since I lifted up the apron flashing, I had to replace the shingles because I didn't want to put the flashing back on top of shingles that had nails penetrating through it. So that eliminated one problem. Now, there's still more problems that I had to check to make sure that they weren't an issue. And one of the other areas that can cause leakage from driving rains being blown up against the backside of the house is right here, this corner and this corner. What happens is after so many years they develop hairline cracks, and that would only cause leakage from driving rains being blown up against the back of the house. And after doing a visual inspection, I saw that everything was fine with that, and that was not an issue. So now I had to work my way up. And I wanted to check the J channels above the window, make sure that there was no cracks in the J channels in the corners. Everything was fine. That was good. So now I had to work my way up even higher. And now along the gutter here, I wanted to make sure that the gutter was clear, that there was no debris inside the gutter, and that the downspouts were nice and clean, and that the pitch was sufficient. Everything was perfect. There was no issue. So now I had to check the first course of shingles, which is very important. Underneath the first course of shingles, you have another course of shingles that you can't see, and that's called the starter course. So when you lift the first course of shingles up where two shingles join, you have a solid shingle underneath, and that's called the starter course. But what happens sometimes is that when the contractor installs his starter course together where two shingles join, he then installs his first course of shingles on top of that. So now when you lift the top course of shingles up, you have the bottom course of shingles in direct alignment. So the seam is one seam on top of the other, and your felt paper is exposed underneath. I didn't feel that was a problem right from the beginning, because if it was, that felt paper would have deteriorated long ago, and he would have had more frequent leaks. But I needed to see this for sure. I needed to eliminate that as any kind of a problem. And another thing is that these gutters were fastened on with gutter spikes and sleeves. And what happens is, if the gutter ever overflows, the sleeves have a seam on it, and the seam on the sleeve, it's like a cylinder type of thing that the spike feeds through. It goes through the gutter and it goes through the fascia board to hold the gutter in position. And if that seam is pointed upwards and that gutter overflows, water will go inside the seam, then go right through the fascia board, then go inside the wall, travel inside the window, and cause these two different areas to leak. And the gutter sleeve seams were pointed downwards, so that was good. So that was eliminating another problem. So now, as you can see, the vent pipe is in direct alignment with this problem area, and I definitely felt that this was an issue, that this was the problem from the beginning, but I wanted to save that for last. So what I did was I went for the ridge vent. I wanted to make sure that the ridge vent, the shingles underneath were installed far enough up underneath, because a lot of contractors, they don't snap a chalk line from one end of the roof to the other. A lot of contractors, they're in a rush to get the job done, so they don't use a chalk line. So they just look at it by eye, and they just cut it really quickly. and then they installed the ridge vent on top of shingles that were cut short. And that would only cause leakage from driving rains being blown up against the back of the house. After I lifted the ridge vent up, I noticed that the shingles were cut nice and straight, and that wasn't a problem. So now we're down to my last area, which I really felt was a problem. When I lifted the shingles up around the pipe flange, they were glued into position, but when I lifted the shingles up, I noticed that they didn't put any nails through the flashing, through the middle of the flashing on either side. So that's good. But then when I lifted the shingles up, excuse me, on the back side of the pipe flange to view the flashing, I noticed that they put nails way down too low and the nail was rusted. And that was the source of the problem. So in order to correct this, we had to take the pipe flange off, take it completely off the roof, put a new flange on, re-shingle around it with the matching color shingles, and then once we have the shingles fastened into position, we apply a sealant to the underside of the shingles so that it's glued to the flashing immediately. And then the vent pipe flange collar is made out of rubber. And the collar has to be sealed with what they call a GSL tripolymer sealant. It's a flexible sealant, and it lasts for many years. So several rains went by after the job was completed. I called the homeowner up just to check up on him to make sure that everything was well. And he was so happy, and he said, "Ken, I can't believe it. After so many years, no more leaks." And so he was very happy, and he's not going to have to worry about this problem ever happening again. And my name's Ken Breezemeister, and I'm from Roof.net, and I could be reached at 703-303-8546, and our estimates are always free, and I look forward to meeting with you. Thank you, and have a good day.